Okay, live paint bucket tool. Quick and easy way to color in some of your vector art without having to select objects and micromanage. I've live traced a bitmap image of Calvin and Hobbes here. When I select it, you can see that I've already live traced it. I'm just going to expand it so I have anchor points and paths. With it selected, with the selection tool, I'm going to come down here to the live paint bucket. If it's hidden, it might be under the shape builder tool, and that's right about the middle of your tool palette. Come over here and just click anywhere. You can see click to make live paint group, and now it's a live paint group. And basically you can just color things in. If you look over here, the swatches are reflected at the top of the tool, so if I use my right and left arrow, I can scroll through the different colors. And I'm just going to select this kind of light orange because that's Hobbes' facial color. I'm going to select the areas that are highlighted, so you could see that wherever I don't have black, there's white. It's kind of getting a sense for where different shapes are. And so, if you're making your own shapes, it's going to be a lot easier. But if you're live tracing something like this, you never know where live trace exactly is going to create shapes. In some cases, like on Calvin here, you can see that when I hover over him, his hair isn't going to be yellow. In fact, his whole face will be yellow and the background. Same is true for Hobbes' face here. His whiskers need to be white. So one thing you can try to do right from the get-go is next to the expand button. This looks like the same tracing dialog options box, but it's the same icon, but this is gap options. When you have the live paint bucket tool open, if you click on it, you can tell it, hey, small gaps, medium gaps, large gaps in between are going to be essentially closed off. But in this case, you're not going to, this is too large of a gap. Now if you see over here, if I hover right here and if I zoom in on the artwork, it's sensing that this is a large gap right here, and so I could basically color that in, and that's where that gaps option box really comes in handy. But for our purposes here, we need to make this kind of a dam, if you will. It's going to stop the white from bleeding into his forehead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the pencil tool and I'm going to select, no fill. I have to make sure that I'm not selected on the object. I'm going to grab the pencil, no fill, no stroke. I'm just going to come over and kind of draw in where I think it needs to be. And I have a path here, but you're not going to see it. Now, I mean, if you wanted that to be part of the artwork, you could do that, of course. With the selection tool, I'm going to select both the Calvin and Hobbes artwork and here's my phone, the new path that I just drawn here. And you'll see this little thing comes up, merge live paint. Whenever you create a new path or anchor or anything shape, and you're using the live paint bucket tool, you have to update it. And you'll see here, if I go back to the live paint bucket tool now, it actually is going to dam up that color right across the top of his nose in between his eyes. And now I can color him the way he's supposed to be. So you can see that worked pretty well. If you try to use the paintbrush, it won't let you do just no stroke, no fill. It'll default to white, which might be okay, but in this case I'm trying to do Calvin's hair. Same thing, I'm just going to use the pencil tool. Of course, you can double click on the pencil tool to change the edited selected paths, tolerances, so on, like we talked about before. In this case though, since we're doing no stroke, no fill, it's not going to make any difference. So once again, I'm just going to deselect, come over here and just choose no fill, no stroke. Back over, grab my pencil. It operates the same way as the brush tool. I'm using my tablet, and that's a small gap, so it's going to know. I'm going to assume it's going to know what I'm looking for here. So I've just drawn in a couple of paths. Come over, select them. Oops. Zoom out to do that. I select right there. Once again, if you're unsure, you've created a bunch of new paths and you've selected off of them, especially like I can't see what I've just drawn, just use the selection tool. Click and drag, highlight the whole thing. If Merge Live Paint comes up, select it. Okay? And then come over once again, and now I can fill in, and you can see, yes, it's going to give me exactly what I'm looking for, so I can make Calvin's hair yellow. Probably should have done a little bit of a line over here. Okay, what that looks like in your inside of your layers window is you have a group and a live paint group, and so these are all the objects that make up Calvin and Hobbes' picture, and they're all part of a live paint group. If you want to expand this, if you want to undo sort of the paint group, or you want to, you want to release some of the objects from that paint group, just select the whole thing here, click expand, and it takes a few minutes, and that'll undo some of the objects. So now you have the ability to go in and maybe change some of the way things look if you want to. So I might do that here. Just go in, I can change the size of Hobbes' head, kind of oblong or whatever I need to do. So that's Live Paint Group and Live Paint Bucket Tool.